so much for joining another day of the Changemaker Inclusion Summer Program. I'm excited to be joined by a special guest here today, who is Benjamin. So really quick introduction of him. Ben is an incoming freshman at Cornell University, majoring in human biology, health, and society. He is an IB, or International Baccalaureate, graduate of Campbell High School in Smyrna, Georgia, where he led various initiatives both in and out of the classroom, one of which was co-founding the Stanford Neurodiversity social media campaign in the Stanford Neurodiversity Project during the summer of 2021. I had the pleasure of working with Ben as well as Joshua, who is a camp coordinator here, to create this initiative together. Through this, our team has been able to address misconceptions regarding neurological differences, as well as shed light on neurodiverse voices across the globe. Our initiative has been recognized by Stanford University, and we were invited to speak at the Stanford Neurodiversity Summit, which was an event that hosted over 5,000 people. Ben has done a lot of great advocacy work, and his advocacy project started exactly how your guys's did, with a team, an idea, and a passion for the cause. His presentation will inform you all about the importance of social media and advocacy, how he started his project, as well as the design process, and much more. With all that being said, I am pleased to pass the stage to Ben, and you may begin sharing your screen whenever you are ready.
Thank you, Meghana. Here, let me share. Okay. Oop. Okay, can you guys see it? All right. So good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Benjamin Loong, and today I'll be sharing my neurodiversity advocacy story and the design process behind it. I really hope that this can aid your own design processes and your projects, especially when raising awareness about neurodiversity. So here's an overview of what we'll probably be discussing about today. I'll go into a brief introduction of like who I am and actually how I actually started getting into neurodiversity advocacy. And then we'll go into why specifically I chose social media as well as our group. And then we'll go into a little bit about our posts and our stories. So again, who am I? You guys can call me Ben. Megan already said this, but I'm a rising freshman at Cornell University. I plan to be majoring in human biology, health, and society. I'm also the co-founder of at Stanford Neurodiversity, which is an inclusive neurodiversity advocacy group on social media. You will also hear more, or have already heard about In Another's View, which is a podcast made to bolster the voices of neurodiverse individuals, businesses, and families. A few other fun facts about me are that I'm from Smyrna, Georgia, and I'm an IB graduate of Campbell High School. So I also have to mention that we could have not developed or amassed our success without teamwork. Meghana and Joshua and I all run at Stanford Neurodiversity, and I believe that Joshua will probably share more about his specialty on the podcast. So today I'll primarily be focusing on the Instagram account. So thank you again, Meghana, for having me here to discuss about the Instagram account. So one of the main reasons why I started advocating for neurodiversity was primarily because of the stigma I witnessed throughout my own community. As an Asian American, and many of you might be able to relate with this, but any neurological differences were really never part of the conversation and really deemed abnormal. And even in America, I vividly recall many media outlets obscuring what autism was or declaring that you could cure dyslexia by reading cereal boxes. And through these media misrepresentations have led to drastic effects in my community. And over the summers in high school, I volunteered as a camp counselor for my local children's hospital. And even there, I witnessed how many caretakers are not really trained or taught to accommodate neurodiverse thinking. So that is why I hope that our advocacy can at least clear the negative stigma shrouding around neurodiversity and address at least some misconceptions. So why social media? Well, social media has been a growing facet for all of our lives. It has proven to be one of the most powerful tools at everyone's disposal. Movements like March for Our Lives or BLM have all spread rampantly throughout the power of social media. It is also beneficial with connecting with the younger generations and educating them about neurodiversity. Through this, we have been able to reach thousands from our Instagram account, Discord server, podcast, and all forms of communication with a click of a button. So here's our Instagram account. If you scan the QR code on the right, it should take you to the homepage of @Stand for Neurodiversity. And you are more than welcome to scroll through all of our various posts and all of our stories. And our main goal with this Instagram was to spread awareness about neurodiversity. We hope that we hope to develop a safe and friendly community for everyone, both neurodiverse and neurotypical. This has allowed us to highlight neurodiverse individuals throughout the community, as well as share information posters. I'll also have the QR code at the end of the slide so you can look at that again. So utilizing the Insights feature on Instagram, I collected some recent data from our Instagram account. As of July, we have reached over 8,784 accounts. Last I checked, we had 1,642 followers, which has been a 10.2% increase this past month. We have also reached all age groups, but primarily 51.1% of our audience ranges from the ages of 13 to 34. So our primary audience comes from the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and India. While our top cities are London, New York, Melbourne, Toronto, and Sydney. So one of the key things you should know when starting your own advocacy project is universal design. Universal design is the development of an environment so that it can be accessed or understood by others regardless of their age, disability, thought, or other factors. The image that I posted here shows what universal design truly is. Starting on the left, we see that equality makes sure that everyone is equal, yet everyone in the image is everyone in the image is given a box to see the game, yet it's not beneficial for the person who's wearing white and yellow. And next in the middle is equity. So that's where everyone is able to watch the game, but we end up investing more resources for the person wearing white. And although this allows all participants to watch the game, there's an unequal treatment for each person. Finally, on the right, we change to the fence, which is the environment, so that all parties are able to watch the game while feeling equal treatment. Overall, universal design is to change the environment rather than changing the learner. And you'll see this later on with our own posts. So here's here are a few ways how we've incorporated universal design in our own projects. So one of them is the font. So throughout this presentation, you'll actually see that there's this special font that we've been using, which is the Open Dyslexic font. It has a bolder bottom for each letter, so it makes it more accessible for everyone to read. On our post, you'll later see that we've incorporated more spacing, and it's kind of crucial because it made it so that it's not overstimulating or overbearing for neurodiverse individuals. And this was also likewise where we incorporated color. So we aim to have more muted colors instead of vibrant flashes. So finally, overall accessibility to our posts have been what we've been striving for. And under each post, we've incorporated descriptions for those who have impaired vision, and certain audio features will allow people to listen to our posts instead of reading them. And last, feedback has been pivotal throughout this design process and has enabled us to make continuous growth and adjustments throughout our posts. So now I'll actually go to a deeper dive into our posts. So these are some of our first posts. And on the left was actually our first prototype with autism, which was actually considered too formal. So we ended up dialing it back with our ADHD post in the middle. However, through the valuable feedback, we actually found that sometimes these types of posts in the middle can be too muddled and too overstimulating for people. We had those so many quotes. And afterwards, we developed our dyslexia post, which incorporated fewer words and had more images within it. So it made it more accessible for those with impaired vision. And all in all, throughout these posts, we found out that feedback has been a crucial aspect of our project and a continuous component for our own growth and development for future posts. So to continue enhancing our posts, we ended up developing eye-catching animations. We understood that our target audience at that point was primarily youths and teens, as they currently held the most impact online. By continuously spreading information and appealing to the younger generation, we can actually effectively promote a neurodiverse community. And you can see that we actually started spreading more into other neurodiverse thinking with dyspraxia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia. So these are another category of posts that we ended up developing. And one of our goals was to create a supportive community. And we wanted to develop these posts to promote other platforms and other projects. So speaking at SMP, which was Stanford's Neurodiversity Project, enabled us to make more connections to promote other projects like the Integrated Strength Learning Design Project, Strength-Based Learning Project. And you can learn more about that on our account. We also highlighted more individuals like Sienna Castellon, who is attending Stanford University, and she shared a little bit about her astounding work in our neurodiversity advocacy and on our podcast. So our main goal was that we hoped to incorporate these influential groups and stories so that we can inspire others to support our own neurodiverse community. So not only is social media extremely helpful for spreading advocacy messages, but we were also able to advertise and promote other messages and platforms. For example, when we launched our podcast, we were able to inform our followers and quickly gain the attention of the right audience. So we also started a Discord server and TikTok, which also promoted our Instagram account as a means of developing a community. And we hope in the future we can also promote other organizations and groups here today or on our various platforms. So if you know of a project or you guys want to share more about your own project later in the future, you're free to contact us. And we would love to feature you guys on our podcast or our posts. And you're more than welcome to contact me at the end of this presentation. So another form of communication that we've utilized to interact with other users are Instagram stories. So the circles and the blue boxes are highlights of our stories. They're key stories that we've saved on our page and are sorted into 3 different categories: our community, our posts, and questions. So for our questions, we specifically use these to interact with other users, as you can see on the left. And this is impactful because we can continue our journey by getting people involved in neurodiversity advocacy by engaging them with different questions. And another one of our highlights that we used are our posts, where we promote our infographics and inform others looking through their feed. And it's also useful for supporters to quickly share it to their own stories so we can spread that information faster into a broader audience. So this is another feature on Instagram, which we also utilize to connect with our viewers. So it utilizes a slide emoji and it has viewers slide it to show how they're feeling. And it's another tool we connect with our audience. And sometimes we privately DM those who have a low rating just to check up on them. So we also hope to spread positive messages through these types of stories so that we can build a safe and supportive community. It also brightens followers' moods, which is one of our main primary aims. And here are a few examples of what we posted on our stories to spread positive affirmations and continuously acknowledging and making our viewers feel understood. So here I wanted to continue to include a few of the feedback and supportive messages that we received over the time. It's a lot of writing, so you do not have to read it all, but overall, this shows what we've had a lot of support from our community and that we're truly making an impact. Personally, I think one of the most memorable moments that I've received were when one of our followers discovered about neurodiversity and found accommodations from their own school. And overall, social media has allowed us to build an inclusive and collaborative community against negative stigmas surrounding neurodiversity in general. So an important thing we did with our account was collaborating with other organizations and nonprofits. So far, we have collaborated with Atarxia, which was a popular neurodiversity nonprofit, and we hope to have some more exciting projects coming up. We also have received positive messages from nationally recognized organizations like Eye2Eye National, and in which they commended our efforts to advocate for neurodiversity and offered to share our posts. And with our podcasts and posts, these organizations realized that the cause we support can be combined for a greater impact. We've also helped raise money for neurodiverse funding, and we were able to promote our account further by speaking at Stanford's NNEA Summit for 2021. So I think I ended a little bit earlier, but thank you guys for listening to my presentation. Below is my personal email if you guys want to contact me, or you can also contact us at the Stanford Nerdiversity Gmail. I also reposted the QR code for the Instagram account. If you missed it, you can check it out again. And thank you guys for listening to this presentation. And please check out our Instagram and our podcast. And I'm definitely now free for questions.
Awesome. So we might end a little bit earlier today, and that's fine. I just want to let everyone know. But does anyone want to ask questions? I've received already some in the private chat, but priority is given to people who want to speak live. So does anyone have any questions they want to raise their hand for? All right, in that case, I'm going to move on to our private chat questions. One of them is, how can I go from not having any connections or anyone to talk to about my advocacy project to creating it into a big organization?
I think with that, one of the things that we've really realized is just trying to contact others, especially on Instagram and like on a lot of other social media platforms. Just start by like reaching out to other like major sort of like neurodiversity handles or like different accounts and just ask them like, hey, is it okay if you post one of my posts, or like should we like probably like collaborate where I share one of your posts and you share one of our posts. There's also different things that we kind of realized over time where like, especially I think like we utilize hashtags. That was one of the biggest things that really helped us kind of spread our own posts, where we utilize different hashtags like, oh, hashtag neurodiversity, or like hashtag um awareness or advocacy, and those really help get to the right audience. And over time, you're just gonna keep building more of that following. So as long as you just keep trying to contact others or just spreading your own posts, you should be able to build more of a following.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So the next one is, how do you guys deal with any hate or harmful messages people spread or message you with?
So I think one of the good things that we have now with Instagram is that we can moderate our own posts. So if we actually do see something that's probably disruptive to the community, we would probably just delete it, or we would contact that person specifically about why they're posting it and work towards how we can um, try to change the situation, or if ask them like, can they delete their post? Usually we really never really encounter with that, especially when we're trying to uplift others. So that's something that we've rarely ever seen. But if it does ever happen, we are able to moderate our own posts. So we would just control the own situation on our own side.
Definitely. The next is, do people ever spread messages on social media that you do not agree with? If so, how do you go about taking down those harmful messages with your own platform?
So oftentimes there are going to be like always different opinions that are going to be posted, and sometimes you really can't control that because that's just a different way of thinking. But whenever we see something that's harmful to the neurodiverse community, we would try to address it by contacting the person who posted it themselves and seeing ways to like probably clear any misconceptions they've had, or we would work towards just trying to clear it on our own side, where we would have our own infographics and our own posts to show that, oh, there's another side to every single story, and that this is actually what we believe is what is actually like happening, or what the actual like science behind different things are.
Awesome. The next question I have here is, do you use your platform for other projects, like as a promotion, or is it solely based on spreading advocacy with an online presence?
So recently it's kind of been a mix of both. So when we actually started, it was primarily just spreading more infographics and advocacy. But later on, we found that it's kind of better for us to support the neurodiverse community. So we've been able to promote other projects that we met at Stanford, like the ISL project I mentioned earlier. There's also a few other projects I can't think of right now, but you can check our own Instagram account and we should have them still up. We've also utilized the podcast, which I think has probably been the biggest thing that's been able to promote other groups, and especially like different businesses that are around the US. So those have all been really helpful for promoting others. But yeah, it's kind of been just a mix of both. just sharing the information about neurodiversity as well as having that promotion side.
Awesome. The next question is, do you think any group project, as in like any group project, can create a social media, or does our entire initiative need to be dedicated to social media presence? For example, my group is creating school and classroom activities. Should we create a social media or leave it to something tangible? If so, why should we create a social media?
I think social media is a powerful tool, but it really depends on your circumstances. Like if you don't have enough resources to expend on like creating a social media, then I would primarily just focus on whatever you're doing. And especially if it's something tangible, I would actually focus on the actual product instead of the actual like promotion side. So definitely, if you have the resources, definitely create a social media because it is very beneficial to getting out and like spreading that word for other people who might have never been able to see it. Like I think for our experience, we've met so many other people across the globe that might have never heard of our own posts without social media. So social media is a powerful tool. But again, if you're doing something, especially like working at a school that's more tangible, you should always focus on the tangible side before the promotion side, if that helps.
Yeah, I think that helps. Um, the next question is, what is a mistake that you guys made with your posts in the past, and how did you learn from it?
Yeah, so we've definitely come across a lot of mistakes. I think especially in the beginning, we realized that a lot of our posts were really kind of overbearing for a lot of people when they first saw them. And we really didn't know certain things, especially with like utilizing different features on Instagram and how to promote them. So it's just kind of a thing where you learn from your own experiences, especially when we developed like our own feature posts. Um, we really realized there were different things we can utilize to promote our account and also how we can contact others to just spread the word. And I think feedback has been especially pivotal for just changing the post and making it more appealing for people and also making it more accessible for others. I kind of mentioned it earlier with like universal design.
Mm-hmm. I can also think of another mistake. We ended up taking down the post, so it's not even there anymore. But we made a mistake of generalizing the experiences. I kind of made a post thinking that it was informational, but I ended up just generalizing the experiences, which is why I'm kind of using the summer program as a way to also spread the message, not to speak on behalf of anyone, because I learned that myself. So yeah, so we ended up taking it down because it was spreading the exact opposite of what we wanted to. But yeah, there's definitely mistakes that you will make with any advocacy project that you do. It's just a matter of how you work around it and use that to fix it for the future. So the next question here is, what future ambitions do you have for your social media account, and how will you manage it with college?
So for the future, I kind of want to move towards probably getting more um, different events that we can do in person, especially like when I'm going to college now. I hope to find more of a community that can actually promote neurodiversity on campus, and we can hopefully find different ways to help that community or help any incoming students who are neurodiverse. Um, and find different accommodations for students. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking towards when I go to college. And as for like managing it, I think it should be fine. Like I feel like over time we've kind of realized that there's different ways we've been able to manage the social media account. And especially like having a team has been really useful because we've been able to break things apart and be able to sort of like delegate different duties for us to all work together.
Definitely. The next question is, what is the hardest part of maintaining a social media account?
I definitely have to think about this one, but think for maintaining a social media account, I think the hardest part is just retaining that following. I think I can sort of maybe possibly speak for all of us, but during like those final seasons for like high school or like when we have those AP exams, we definitely didn't post that much. And it's hard to kind of like keep up with posting or like spreading more media for other people. So Honestly, I think it's just kind of like focusing on whatever you need to do because sometimes there are different things that like come into your life that you're not really able to do. And I think for a lot of our posts, we wish that we can post more, but we're kind of really preoccupied with other things at the moment. So we just really try to create that time management and work towards like whenever we are actually able to, we would post. So I feel like that's kind of one thing that we're still working towards and we're just trying to grow over time with.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely because we design our posts on a like different platforms. I've tried several different ones, but the idea is that we design it. And so that takes up quite a bit of time. And then also like posting it, making the captions, and then audible versions, all of that takes a lot of time and it becomes difficult with school and stuff. The next question is, how did you guys receive feedback from your audience? Was it through surveys or general feedback from social media users?
So I would probably say that it's been general feedback, especially with the comment section under all of our posts. We've have always received feedback through there. There have been a few times we've received DMs and messages from other people. That's another way we can get feedback. And another feedback that we've also utilized were like the stories features, where it's like we have like those open boxes for people to just comment whenever they feel like. So those are like I think the three main ways we've received feedback. We've also received feedback from like our own different cohorts and like our own different groups that you guys are all here together. So you guys can all always just give each other feedback through that.
Definitely using each other, regardless of being at a different project or not, or a division, is really important because collaboration is key, like Ben said. The next question is, do people ever try to take advantage of you having a popular platform? I think what they mean is like other businesses and stuff trying to exploit the cause.
Yeah. I think you're probably like, if you go with social media, you're probably going to encounter this, but there are always going to be like different brands that really don't support the cause, but they just want to have sort of like the diversity label like on top of it. But that's just kind of like something you just have to research into and see like, oh, is their account actually being supportive? Like you can look at their own posts and see what they've done in the past and just it's really just your own research and seeing like, is this something like, is this a collaboration I want to be part of, or is this something that might be detrimental to the own community? So yeah, it's just something you encounter.
Yeah, exactly. The next question is our second to last question, actually. It is, could you explain a little bit more about your podcast and what it is about?
So I don't know if I should be explaining the podcast because Joshua might be explaining it later, but I can try to give like maybe a brief overview. So for the podcast, generally we have sort of like a theme where we invite a guest to come over and talk about their own experiences. We've had different people like Sienna Castellon. She shared a little bit about her own book and her own advocacy story. And we've had different high schoolers come where they talked about their experiences in education. And we've had different businesses come and share about how they've been promoting neurodiversity in their own businesses. So really, I think the podcast has been a way for us to highlight the neurodiverse voice and different individuals who like really like oftentimes really go unheard of. So we really want to help promote those people and share their own stories and experiences. And hopefully that can help like a lot of people, especially for neurotypical individuals, learn more about what neurodiversity is and how they can help.
Definitely. So our last question, which is a good question to end off on, have you and your team ever had conflicts or disagreements? And are you thankful for having a team, or would it have been better to work alone?
I think for a team, we might have had disagreements at the start. We actually kind of we actually kind of shrinked our team because a few people um didn't really want to participate anymore in the project. So I think we might have faced a few disagreements, but I think now we've really never had any more like disagreements. But yeah, I think I definitely am really thankful for having sort of a group because especially when I was like applying to college, it's kind of given me more of like reflection that I really couldn't have done this without the help of like Megan or Joshua because they've all really helped put in the work, and we've all kind of like have this common goal, and it's definitely inspired me, especially like now seeing what they're all doing and like seeing how we've all grown with this account. So definitely having a team has been it's been like very supportive, and like it's been very helpful, especially with managing with school and everything. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So we got through all 11 or 12 questions. I lost track, but we got through quite a bit of questions. If you guys do have any questions, I will publish Ben's slides at the end of this camp, and his contact information is on the last slide. So if you would like to contact him, or you can go ahead and contact our Instagram. He can contact you there as well. He has access to it, of course. But yeah, if no one else has any questions or would like to stay after the meeting, everyone is welcome to.